you've released another Unearthed Arcana, and one of those is a subclass I am very excited for all sorts of reasons. It is the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. Tell me a little bit about what you guys were thinking of when you came up with this.
So the Aberrant Mind is a sorcerer who has been influenced in some way by an aberrant creature like a mind flayer or a beholder or an aboleth, or has been somehow shaped by the far realm, which is that mysterious place that many aberrant things originally came from. Mm-hmm. Whatever the source of their aberrant nature, this sorcerer has acquired what are essentially psionic powers. And in fact, we even call one of the features psionic spells. And this is a person who, in addition to having these mental powers, also can exhibit various physical transformations, can glisten with mucus, or have other gross things occurring with them, manifest, tentacle-like growths. Dan Dillon, who was the lead designer on this Unearthed Arcana, has been referring to the whole article, because also of the Warlock subclass in it, as just tentacles, tentacles, tentacles.
Well, how did you go about? Because there's a lot of unique elements in this particular sorcerer. First off, and we don't need to go super deep, but some of the unique elements are that you have an expanded spell list.
Yes.
For the sorcerer. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but you can spend sorcery points at a cheaper cost to use those. That's very exciting. That's very kind of new. I've seen it in Unearthed We've seen it in Unearthed Arcana before, correct? Though
we've experimented before with sorcerers having an expanded spell list, but what's special this time is how tightly this list links in with the story of the Aberrant Mind, and then the additional kicker of there being the sorcery point discount using those spells. And then if you use your sorcery points to cast, you basically get a free and better version of the metamagic subtle spell. Really digging into this idea that they're spells, but they are spells that you are manifesting psionically. And so you have manipulated them the way sorcerers can, because sorcerers are all about manipulating their magic through their metamagic. But you are able to manipulate these spells in a way that is unique to this subclass. And so that was something we were eager to explore, given not only the presence of psionic abilities inside this subclass, but also given the story of this subclass. The subclass, it's right in the name. It's aberrant.
Yeah.
It is meant to be different. I've seen as people have responded online to the subclass, and many people are excited about it and all of its ickiness.
I may be one of them.
Yes. As often happens when we do something new that's different from what people might have seen in the subclasses in the Player's Handbook, we get asked the question, well, now are you going to go back and change the Player's Handbook subclasses? No, we're not. Now, if we discover, there's something that needs to be fixed, certainly we will do that. But in an exceptions-based game, each thing stands on its own when it is an exception. Different subclasses can function differently. It is fine for subclasses to get different numbers of features. It's fine for subclasses to get different types of features. Mm-hmm. Our goal in game balance is not, make everything be exactly symmetrical, but make sure, and I've said this before actually in conversation with you, make sure every subclass has a chance to shine meaningfully over the course of a campaign in ways that are appropriate for the story of that subclass. We also have mathematical targets that we seek to meet in each subclass, but even those targets we don't expect our subclasses to hit in a symmetrical way. Here's what I mean by that. We tend to balance holistically. We balance for how is this subclass going to perform over the course of an adventure, not necessarily moment by moment. So one subclass in the moment might be outperforming damage-wise or in terms of healing or in
Right.
terms of utility more than another, but then the other subclass might catch up because of its contribution over the course of, say, a whole day. And it can be tricky doing this kind of asymmetrical design, but it is at the heart of D&D, and it's actually always been at the heart of D&D going all the way back to first edition. And so, going back to the Aberrant Mind, if people say, oh, we love these psionic spells and how they function, if this subclass goes on to become an official part of the game, there's a good chance it will have this functionality that the sorcerer subclasses that are already in the game don't have, but they have functionality that it does not have.
I think it's brilliant because it also rewards people for playing into that. Like, I cannot imagine the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer not having those spells, right? Like,
Right.
and I don't think there are a lot of cases of that, but like to the point of this concept. Like, I cannot imagine it not having black tentacles or psionic, some of these psionic spells, modifying memory. Because what's scary about the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer and what I love about it and why it's perfect for one of my personal characters is that, like, it's not just tentacles that are scary. It's the mind stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's called the Aberrant Mind. So it needs spells that are disturbing, that kind of like take root in someone's mind and that sort of thing.
And there is a mini story arc inside the subclass